Hey, welcome to Cypress Graphics safety video. I want to make sure that we cover the basics before we get too far into operating equipment and utilizing chemicals. I want to make sure that you have your basic standards of operation when coming into contact with the equipment moving forward, okay? So the number one thing that you're going to end up noticing is this class has a lot of signage, okay? So some signs you might notice. Okay, so number one, as you operate equipment, you need to be on your best behavior and highest alert, okay? Use your brain, use common sense. I know that people often say common sense is quite uncommon these days. However, I believe that as you practice, as you are trained, you'll remember. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody really wants to cause damage to a property or their self. A couple standard practices is just be on your best behavior. This room, the lab, does get wet from time to time, especially when washing out screen print screens and operating with chemicals around the screen press. Occasionally in the color room with the vinyl cutter, with people not paying attention to how they're handling the waste materials. Sometimes there's little pieces of vinyl adhesive or the backer, and you could end up slipping on that. Just pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the equipment that you're using, and all should be well. Number one practice is clean up after you work an area, okay? Do not operate equipment while listening to headphones. The safest practice is just button up your phone, put it in your pocket, put it away, put it in your backpack, whatever it is, but no headphones while operating the equipment. And open-toed shoes. We do have metal frame screens that, if dropped on your toes, could be quite painful. Also, we do use sharp objects, X-Acto knives, razor blades, scissors, as well as templates and jigs for the sublimation, and then heavy rolls of wide format printing material, adhesive stickers, banner material, as well as the rolls for the adhesive vinyl. Each one of those things, if they dropped right on your foot, bare toes, whatever, you could be in quite a bit of pain. So I recommend, as you operate equipment, be mindful of those things. Do not operate any of the equipment or handle chemicals or carry the big rolls and things like that with open-toed shoes, okay? So general safety in graphics is to just pay attention to your surroundings. No horseplay, no fooling around. While someone's working, don't egg them on or poke fun or mess around with their equipment. Errors and mistakes happen when horseplay and distractions and goofing off happen, okay? Keep your area clean. As you work, as you create waste, as you create trash, drop it in the trash can, get it away from your area, and after you're done especially, make sure you clean up after yourself and all the tools and equipment get put back where it belongs. At the end of making a project or completing a project, please, out of the kindness of your own heart, empty the trash, take a trash can, especially if it starts to get up above the rim, out to the dumpster. It's approximately 50 steps outside the back door. Please feel free to mention to me, hey, instructor, teacher, Mr. Nasu, I'm gonna take this trash out, and I will give you the thumbs up, okay? Any spills as you're working, chemical-wise, with degreaser, ink remover, press wash, emulsion remover, soaps, water, please mop that up. Keep the area as dry as possible. And in a pinch, we can also pull out the fans to dry up the areas quicker as well. The drier the area, the safer it is to walk and maneuver. From time to time, overspray from the washout booth and washing out screens does happen, but pay attention to it. Don't let it get too far out of hand, and watch the hoses occasionally as people are using the sinks and the washout booth. It could spring a leak in any of the hoses as well as the pressure washer, so be mindful of that. Make sure if you have a project that's been approved artwork wise and the materials have been requested at the class site using the form, get permission to move forward and actually execute and produce the project on the machines and equipment. Okay. Regarding the press and machine safety, always keep the guards in place when operating the machine. Notice and be aware of the pinch points where there may be pinch hazards with the laminating machine, at the vinyl cutting machine, on the screen press, at several places using the paper cutter. Be mindful, be aware, make sure the guards are in place for your safety. Regarding the paper cutter, only one person operating it should be around it, pushing buttons or adjusting paper at a time. Get your cutting done, turn the machine off, walk away. Okay. Regarding apparel and dress while operating equipment, generally long hair needs to be put up so it doesn't get caught up in any of the rollers or pinch areas. Scarves, long, loose apparel, hoodies, tassels, things like that, or the ties for the hoodies. Make sure you kind of account for those things. Sometimes you're just tucking them inside the shirt at the collar. Will suffice, as well as ties, right? And you know, for example, screen printing, you're not going to be wearing your best stuff anyway. Make sure you wear an apron. Sometimes that keeps you in the space where all the loose stuff is tied down. You tie it at the waist, you tuck your tie in, you're just ready to work, and it'll actually fend off some of the smudges and ink that and chemicals that could overspray back onto you. Okay, so aprons as often as you can. Make sure you keep chit chat and side talk to a minimum while working projects. We have in the past had some accidents where students leave the area without turning equipment off, or the spot dryer. Or just as they're working, they just talk and have such a good time that we've actually damaged or destroyed or burnt up pieces of equipment. Pay attention, keep talk to a minimum unless it's related to the project, and be productive. That's not to say that you can't have fun while doing it, but make sure that you are aware of your surroundings at all times, chemical-wise, heat, electricity, equipment, machinery moving, all those fun things. Just pay attention. If something malfunctions, breaks, or otherwise misfires, make sure you make a note of that. Come talk to the instructor, get it adjusted or made a note of as quickly as possible. There might be a time when it becomes necessary to shut the machine down, even if it's in the middle of a project, to get it repaired or otherwise planned for repair. But the sooner you let the instructor know about any malfunctioning equipment, the quicker it gets back up and running and you get your project done correctly. It wouldn't be very fun to be halfway through a job, something starts to malfunction, and you end up wasting a number of shirts or a bit of material, especially if you only needed a few more to go. Keep track of that stuff. We want to make sure that everything's up and running. Good rule of thumb, consider all chemicals as dangerous. We have a number of chemicals that we use in this class: degreaser, emulsion remover, screen prep. We have emulsion, ink remover, press wash. We have spray adhesives, as well as screen opener and toner aid, and just a number of things. Even could be just something as simple as glass cleaner. Just consider all chemicals to be dangerous. Handle them with care, handle them appropriately, use them as outlined and described in the labeling. Don't, do goofy things, keep safe, and clean up after yourself appropriately. Make sure that you use it for the purpose that it's designed for. Good practice would be to fill up containers with the appropriate amount of water, especially from concentrate, specifically for concentrates, and then you add the chemical to the container. The reason to do this is if you add the concentrate first, say for a degreaser, sometimes it foams up quite a bit, and it's a little bit tough to estimate the volume of the water that goes in after the fact. And then you'll either have a higher concentration of degreaser or a lower concentration because you're overcompensating. There's so many different things that could happen. When in doubt, use eye protection, especially when dealing with high pressure washer or sprays or cleaning, that the splash that could come back could damage your eyes. Wear eye protection just in case. If you happen to get chemicals sprayed in your eye, make sure you clean them immediately. Okay? At the wash station, which is located by the front door, flip the tops, turn the water on, rinse your eyes for 15 minutes straight, diluting any chemical that may be present, as well as washing it out. It may sting, it may be painful. However, for the most part, the chemicals in this class are fairly inert. They may sting a little bit, they may burn a little bit, but overall you are safe to handle, use, or otherwise manage the chemicals in this class for screen printing. Okay. After cleaning up, remember to stow the used rags, especially with ink remover or any other solvents on them, in a safe container that is fire resistant, fireproof, and empty the trash cans each night, especially if you're the one that happens to be filling it up. Okay, so it doesn't take much. Again, like I said, about 50 steps to the dumpsters down to the end of the building by wood shop. Make a trip, get out in the sun, handle your business, dump the trash can, get back here, and move on to your next project. UV lights can be harmful, cause damage to eyes and skin. The only UV lights of it that we have here in the classroom is the exposure table, the exposure unit, and it's a thin sliver of light that does come through where the glass is. So don't stare directly into that area, and just keep yourself safe. For the most part, nobody's going to be in the direct shine light of the exposure unit. Okay. Regarding chemicals, last note would be MSDS, the Material Safety Data Sheet. Looks kind of like this. Each one of the chemicals that we use in this classroom has a Material Safety Data Sheet, an MSDS, and it's in a 3-ring binder in the top drawer of the ink station. It talks about the health and reactivity of a fire, flammability. Excuse me, let's back up. You'll notice the health placard up top. Health, fire reactivity, fire and reactivity. It kind of identifies the danger of a specific chemical. Each one, the higher the number, the more dangerous it is. And there are best practices, how to handle it, how to store it, each one, what to do in case there is any harmful interactions with eyes or skin contact that may be causing pain, or it's sprayed in your mouth like you were gargling with mouthwash, or whatever you were trying to do with the chemical. It has practices on how to handle it and what to expect if something happens. Okay, so this is the last slide. Be safe, be aware of your surroundings. Make the place as clean as you found it, if not cleaner. There's opportunities to organize and manage and just be a great part of a contribution to the class. I appreciate each one of you. Those of you who have stepped up and helped out in the class, continue to do so. Greatly appreciate it. And study this video as often as you can, and refer to it when in doubt, when you have any questions. And if there's any other additional questions after this, see me, send me a message, whatever it takes. I'll make sure that I clarify and that you get the additional information you need to stay safe in the graphic lab. Thank you a bunch. Cheers, y'all.